Hey everyone!
Welcome to our channel.
In today's video,
We're going to talk about music and psychology.
enjoy!
Hello, so today I'm going to talk about the history of music and psychology, identify what is the relationship between music and learning, music and culture, music and brain, as well as how music can positively influence humanity. To begin with, it is important to clarify what exactly is music. According to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, music is both a science and art created by ordering tones or sounds in combination to produce a composition of unity and coherence. In 2005, Murek found that historically, music has been universally valued for its ecological and physiological effects on humans. Another interesting fact is that the word music comes from the Greek word music, and the Greeks were the first to investigate music and its influence on health. Also, more ethnicities like the ancient Egyptians and Chinese people have unveiled the therapeutic benefit of music for healing purposes. Initially, the origin of theatre begins in Athens, the capital of Greece, back in the Golden Age, between 550 before Christ to 220 before Christ. Theatre mainly included tragedy, comedy, as well as satire. Moving forward chronologically, the Middle Ages followed. So in that era, music played an important role in the Christian church during the Middle Ages. Gregorian chant was the most common type of music used in church services. Then follows the Renaissance, 18th to 16th century, where it brought the rebirth of Europe through various fields such as political, economic, and religious, and finally led to the rise of modern music, which was more rhythmic, melodic, and harmonic and compared to previous years. In addition, we have the Baroque period, 16 to 1750, where this period is characterized by Antonio Vivaldi, a great composer of the time, and his music included slightly faster changes in melody, volume, and tonality. Afterwards, there is the classical period, 1750 to 1830, where music looked to Greece for its musical inspiration. Classical music is generally described as being strong but lacking in emotion if compared to Baroque. Furthermore, it is worth to mention that another great composer in that era were Beethoven and Mozart. Subsequently, there is the Earth Romantic period, 1830 to 1860, where the main features were obviously the romance, the intensity, and the expressionistic forms of music. However, the interesting fact about the specific period is that during this era, the musical drama was also a rise. So, this was an idea of which was created by Richard Wagner in Opera and Drama, an essay book of 1851, that hoped return the theatre to its Greek roots by telling people stories as symbols of drama. Next period was the late Romantic, 1860 to 1920, where there was a lot of romanticism, a trade of narrative poetry and music between the nature world and humanity. It is true that after the post-Great Wars in 19th century, the types of music changed. The first type of music in 19th century was jazz, the second one was blues, the third one was country music, big band, the fourth one was country music, the fifth one was rock and roll, the sixth one was hip hop, and the last one was electronic music. Now let's consider what is psychology. According to the American Psychological Association, psychology is a scientific study of the mind and behavior. Psychology is a new science with most advances beginning over the past 150 years. However, its origins can be traced back to ancient Greece, 400 to 500 before Christ, but in a more philosophical aspect. Psychology emerged as a scientific discipline with the founding of Wandt's laboratory in Leipzig in 1879. The first school of thought, structuralism, is momentous due to its emphasis in scientific research, but its methods were unreliable and limited. Edward B. Titchener was the individual who discovered that school, and when he died in 1927, structuralism died essentially with him. Then there is the factionalism of William James. The focus of factionalism was about how behavior worked to help people live in their environment. Both early schools of thought emphasized in human consciousness. Additionally, Sigmund Freud was the founder of psychoanalysis. He proposed a theory of personality that emphasized the importance of the unconscious mind. This theory is called psychoanalytic theory, and it suggests that human behavior is influenced by unconscious memories, thoughts, and urges. The theory also proposes that the psyche comprises three aspects: the ID, the ego, and the superego. Moving forward, the rise of behavior changed dramatically in psychology during the 20th century. as another school of thought which was dominant for 50 years, meaning its impact was enormous. The third force in psychology, or otherwise humanistic psychology, was a new school of thought that emerged in the second half of the 20th century by Carl Rogers. He strongly believed in the power of free will and self-determination. Psychologist Abraham Maslow also contributed to humanistic psychology with his famous hierarchy of needs theory of human motivation. This theory suggested that people were motivated by increasingly complex needs. Once the most basic needs are fulfilled, people then become motivated to pursue higher level needs. Some very brief definitions of what is music and learning, music and culture, and music and brain follows. Music can raise students' awareness, enhance attention, and increase concentration, and that may lead to the assimilation of information and academic achievement. Music unites cultures by transmitting ideas, emotions, and identities. Music increases your creativity, recalls memory from long ago, helps listening to your body, and most importantly, research has shown that listening to music can reduce anxiety, blood pressure, and pain, as well as improve sleep quality, mood, mental alertness, and memory. To sum up, the introduction part will conclude with the theory of music, mood, and movement. The MMM proposes that music alters mood, is a cue for movement, and makes physical activity more enjoyable, leading to improved health outcomes of weight, blood pressure, blood sugar, and cardiovascular risk factor management, and improved quality of life. Now, Judith, Nandubeko, and Shannon will talk about these things in more depth. Thank you.
Music has a powerful influence on learning and development. When it comes to studying or working, listening to music can boost focus and productivity. It's also great for memory retention and cognitive skills. In terms of development, music helps with language and communication and emotional intelligence. Plus, it sparks creativity and self-expression. Let's dive deeper into how music impacts various aspects of learning and development. For starters, music can help with attention and focus. It has the power to grab and maintain attention, which can be useful for learning. Certain genres of music, such as instrumental pieces or music with moderate speed, have been shown to improve focus and concentration that aids in tasks that need prolonged attention. Secondly, music helps with memory enhancement. It can improve memory retention and recall. The rhythm and melody of music can act as recollection tools, allowing people to recall information with greater ease. Music can also help with emotional regulation. It has the power to evoke emotions that can influence mood. Music may foster pleasant emotional state, fostering relaxation and well-being, resulting in an excellent learning environment. Upbeat music can also increase motivation and energy levels, while calming music can reduce anxiety and stress. Music also helps with neuroplasticity. Learning how to play a musical instrument or participating in musical activities can boost neuroplasticity, or the brain's ability to change and reorganize response in experiences. Musical training has been linked to changes in the brain structure and function, especially in regions involved in auditory processing, motor control, and executive processes. Music also helps with social connection. It can be a social activity, whether through group concerts, choir involvement, or musical appreciation groups. Collaboration in music creates connections between people and encourages collaboration and cooperation, which are crucial skills for learning and growth. Music also helps with creativity and problem solving. Musical improvisation and composition require creativity and problem solving abilities. Participating in these activities can improve cognitive flexibility, originality, and diverse thinking, which are useful for learning in a variety of fields. Music can also help with motivation and engagement. Including music in learning activities may boost motivation and engagement, making the learning process more fun and enjoyable. Music may also be a motivator, offering a sense of success and satisfaction as skills grow. There is even growing evidence that music education correlates with academic achievement. Research suggests that students involved in musical programs tend to perform better academically, particularly in subjects like maths and language arts. It can also help with language development. Music and language share neurological connections, and there is evidence that musical lessons can help with language development, particularly in areas like as phonological awareness, vocabulary, and grammar. Lastly, music can help with self-expression and identity. Music provides a means for self-expression and identity formation. By creating and performing music, learners can explore and express their thoughts, emotions, and values, promoting self-awareness and confidence. In conclusion, music is truly a versatile tool that can positively impact various aspects of learning and development.
The study of how the brain processes and interprets musical input is known as music perception and cognition. This field of study looks at how listeners perceive and understand musical patterns, identify well-known tunes, and provide meaning to auditory elements. Exposure to musical forms or genres, for example, can have a cultural impact on how people perceive music cognitively and affect their taste and preference. Music is a sense of universal language that encompasses the human mind's creativity and symbolizes the creative freedom that artists use to create composition using sounds, rhythm, and instruments. A society's beliefs, values, and traditions are often reflected in the music, imprinting the music and culture together. Music from different cultures has various styles, each with its own unique characteristics and influences. From pop and hip-hop to classic and folk, music has a vital role in shaping cultural norms and fostering a sense of belonging within communities. It is a medium for expression, communication, and identity. Examining the connection between culture and music reveals a complex interaction that influences societies all over the world. A community's ideas, values, and customs are reflected in its music, which is a powerful reflection of its cultural identity. Every musical genre, from modern pop songs to native chants, has unique cultural components that connect with its listeners. Lyrics, instrumentation, rhythms, dance techniques, and other components of music are all influenced by culture. These components act as vehicles for historical, social, and political messages that are passed down through generations, in addition to communicating cultural narratives. Traditional folk songs, for instance, preserve cultural history and promote a feeling of group identity by narrating historical events and local stories. On the other hand, music has the ability to mold society through affecting social norms, attitudes, and behaviors. Artists ignite cultural transformations and promote conversations on important problems by addressing social challenges, dispelling stereotypes, and advocating for change through lyrics and melodies. In addition, public gatherings such as music festivals, concerts, and other events facilitate cross-cultural understanding by uniting people to celebrate difference. Fusion of musical styles and cultural influences has grown more widespread in today's globalized society, resulting in the emergence of hybrid genres and cross-border collaborative initiatives. This connection demonstrates the dynamic character of culture and the transforming potential of music in forming social identities and promoting cross-cultural interaction on the worldwide basis.
So we've discussed music with developmental, social, and cultural approaches. What about our biology? What happens to our bodies, more specifically the brain, when we listen to music? This has long been a discussion dating back to Pythagoras, Aristoxenus, and Vincent z. Galilei, who have had a hand in studying music themselves. Emotions especially have been a popular topic of discussion when in relation to music. How does music make us feel and perceive emotions? When we listen to music, of course, we feel things, but it's the what and the how that gets people questioning. Some say the emotion we feel is aligned with the mood set in the song, while others say it is up to personal experience in relation to the song. Since the human body is extremely complex, we can't say that both are completely wrong. For example, if you listen to a happy song that reminds you of a sad breakup, then you may feel sad or bittersweet or something other than what the song sounds like. That being said, how do we know what the song sounds like? It is up to us to perceive the emotion placed into the music, whether it is in the beat of the song or the lyrics. If the artist is skilled enough, they might just be able to place their exact feelings into the song so successfully that almost everyone would have the same interpretation of the song in the same intensity that the artist desires. But still, there lies some subjectivity in what exactly is meant in a song. Both individual and situational factors come into play when a person perceives a feeling within a sound. Halam and colleagues discuss this in more depth in terms of individual factors and situational factors. Individual factors influencing people's listening styles and situational factors based on the environment we're in when we listen to said music. It has been said that listening alone and listening together with other people elicit different emotions within us. With many discussions going on what a song is meant to mean, it can be agreed upon that all listening experiences are not always equal. Now that we've touched on the what and the subjective perception and induction of emotions when listening to music, we can discuss the how. This takes a more objective approach, with modern brain scans being a big help. But as this area of study is extremely complex, we can only make inferences from different sources. Cases of musical disorders, especially, have helped greatly in trying to localize brain areas which perceive music. Studies show that damage to the thalamic region in the brain has been linked to amnesia. The superior temporal gyrus has been linked to either directly or indirectly linked to the storage of musical experience. The right hemisphere also has a part in musical activity. Damage results in auditory discrimination problems, and interestingly enough, different sides of the ears have been thought to recognize different sounds, and working together, they would both create our normal listening experience. While those may sound valid as of now, know that these claims were made in the early 1900s, where brain scans weren't that possible. More recent literature would go into further detail, building on these findings and assumptions, such as Stewart and colleagues, who discussed the disorders of musical listening in much detail, from aspects of sound and parts of the brain affected by musical disorders to the disorder itself, and how it is acquired or developed genetically throughout life, and disorders that remain uncategorized. While all this is interesting, we don't have much time to expand on this paper, but feel free to read it if musical disorders in a more neurological way suit your taste. Overall, in this video series, we've discussed the introduction to music and psychology by going over the history of music, the history of psychology, and how both merge to form the study of music and psychology. How music impacts learning and development in terms of attention and focus, memory enhancement, emotional regulation, neuroplasticity, social connection, creativity and problem solving, motivation and engagement, language development, self-expression, and identity. How music culturally impacts people's taste in music in their cognition and perception. In that section, it was discussed how society's beliefs and norms are impacted by music, as well as entire cultures, and how globalization affected music of cultures overall. And finally, how music affects the brains in terms of emotions and the way we perceive them, as well as discussing attempts to localize brain areas involved in the function of perceiving emotions, of perceiving music and sound in general.
Thank you so much for listening.
We hope you enjoyed this video.
If you have any questions, comment down below.
We'll do our best to answer them.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and press the notification bell for our next video.